Let's give Patricia a hand.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's so bright up here. Thank you so very much for the opportunity to come and speak to you this evening and to share a little bit about my past, my present, my future, as well as the organization, which is a nonprofit organization. And we provide support and guidance to victims of violent crime. So it could be family members of murder, attempted murder, rape, domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse. And we also work very closely with law enforcement. We are an organization that was founded and started by myself in 2003, and we have grown a great deal to be now not only a Orange County-based organization, but a Southern California-based organization. So we work throughout Southern California. We do work in other states and throughout the state of California on many different issues and stuff, but we really, our home base is in Orange County. We are expanding a great deal as well, which I will share a little bit about our expansion in a little bit. But just to tell you a little bit about why Crime Survivors exists and to share a little bit about my past. And why I truly believe that there are so many victims out there that don't realize that they're living a victim's life. And that a lot of people are victimized at a young age. I was abused as a child at the age of 8 by my uncle. My family didn't do anything to help or support. I was told to kind of keep it quiet because it would break up the family. So I developed severe eating disorders. I developed self-esteem issues, self-respect issues. And I grew up thinking that that's what uncles did with little girls. I thought that that's what was my fault, that I was blamed, I was shamed into that. I did not think that there was any difference. Growing up through high school and through school through the years, re-victimized by friends, by family members, not even knowing it, not even realizing that I was living a victim's life. And the reason why I say that now is because I experienced my first half of my life living a victim's life, not knowing it. Until when I came out to California in 1994, I drove out here with my son. I'm a single mom. My son was 2 years old at the time. Got rid of everything. I lived in Illinois, got rid of everything, loaded up a brand new car, and drove to California. And so many people will ask me, well, why did you come, how did you choose California, not Florida, not, Michigan, not New York? Well, because when you grow up in Illinois, dreams happen in California. We all know that, we all lived it, we all thought it. So that's where I ended up, was here. I developed working into a location in Huntington Beach, doing banquets, parties, doing celebratory events, and got very good at it. So I actually started my own coordinating business, planning weddings, and doing extremely well and expanding out and eventually doing corporations and businesses, catering, event planning, having my own kitchen, doing a lot of good within the community for event planning. And then I went to my doctor, and he said, Patricia, if you don't beat this eating disorder, you're not going to live to see 40. You're not going to live to see your son get married. You're not going to live to see your grandchildren someday. And something clicked when he said that. So he wrote on his little pad, go to 24 Hour Fitness, get yourself a trainer, get yourself on a program, you can beat this. That's what I did. I went to 24 Hour Fitness. I told the manager, this is what my doctor said. I'm here to beat this eating disorder and figure out how I can live a healthy, happy life. I have no debt. I have a phenomenal savings. My business is doing amazing. How can I change this pattern? How can I also set a good example for my son? So they introduced me to a gentleman named Jeffrey Calavos. They said he was my perfect match. He was a registered nurse. He was somebody knowing of eating disorders. So I worked out with him 2 days a week. I went to the gym 6 days a week, getting very obsessed because I kind of get obsessed when I do things. And so I worked out trying to figure out how can I get on this? How can I beat this, get on an eating plan, do everything that he told me to do? Not realizing that he wasn't the person that was going to keep me thin or healthy. That had to come from within me. But I trusted him. I trusted them. Unfortunately, it took him 9.5 months to earn my trust. We must know and we must believe that no matter what city you're in, no matter what state you are in, there are criminals everywhere. There are sociopaths, there's predators. what I like to refer to sometimes as monsters that are preying upon the weak and the ones that they can victimize. I was a perfect victim at that point. I believe that he sensed that, knowing, and they are everywhere. On April 4th of 2002, after working out with him for 9.5 months, he came into my house, he drugged me, he wrapped my face and head in saran wrap, beat me black and blue, screaming that when he was done killing me, he was going to kill my son. Now, I don't know what your faith or your belief is, and I don't push my faith on anyone, but to tell you the honest-to-God truth, if it wasn't for God and my faith, I would not be standing here today. I truly believe that as hard as it was to hear those words that he was going to kill my son, because at that point I was still not able to fight for myself. I still didn't have a self-image or a self at that point. But please, you have to realize that every mother, every father will fight their last breath for their child. I was able to jump off of my 12-foot balcony and eventually to be able to get to the front door to get to a neighbor's to call 911. I will never forget the officer. The officers in law enforcement, they carry so much on their shoulders. But I'll tell you, this officer is also another reason why I stand here today, because he treated me with such respect and such dignity, and he took the time to listen to me. This guy was charged with deliberate premeditated attempted murder, burglary in the first degree, and assault with a deadly weapon. Unfortunately, our legal system is broken. We don't have a justice system, in my opinion. I think it works for some, but for others and for the most part, it just does not work. Unfortunately, I wasn't given any kind of referrals or resources. I had to go find those all on my own. And through our legal system, this gentleman, 4 felonies, 4 strikes, ended up serving 120 days and has been on the street ever since. However, I know that I had to endure everything that I had through with a bad judge that should have never been on the bench, that I actually filed a citation against the state of California, and she was removed from the bench. So she no longer can re-victimize anybody else like she did myself and my son. But the greatest gift that has come out of all of this is knowing that at the age of 8, I was victimized and it was not my fault. And uncles should not do that to little girls, that that's not normal and it's not okay. And that I learned throughout my life of being victimized, it was not my fault. I didn't cause that, I didn't ask for that. And on April 4th of 2002, it was not my fault. I did not do anything to deserve almost losing my life or having my son's life threatened. So today, as I stand here today, I realize the fact that I was able to live my first half of my life as a victim, but now I'm a survivor. I believe that there's a difference between living a victim's life and a survivor's life. I believe that God has given me this true gift and this true blessing to be standing here to share my survival with all of you, but to hopefully empower you all and to hopefully reach out to the communities to tell victims their voice does matter, that the victimization does not define who they are, and that I can stand here and I can live my life putting community above self. I pretty much lost everything I had, my life savings. But by starting this nonprofit organization that I had no clue that I would be doing, it'll be 10 years next year, and to see the remarkable work that has been able to be accomplished throughout our community. When I started it, I said if I could help one other person not go through what I endured, then it was worth the pain and suffering that I went through. Only today we have helped thousands and thousands of victims of violent crime. We provide support and guidance to, like I said, all victims of violent crime throughout Southern California. Family members of murder that have to deal with, like today, we have a family member that we paid all their expenses to travel to California from another state to be able to attend a parole hearing that this young woman's sister was brutally murdered and shot in the head and killed. And why should she have to pay the expenses of travel? Why should she have to pay the expenses to have a lawyer representing her at a parole hearing? When it was denied, for the last 2 times, they were going to let him out. But because we were able to support them today, I just got word on the way here, it was a 5-year denial. And it made a difference for that family to sit through that parole hearing, to be able to tell the effects that had happened to them. We're able to help domestic violence victims and survivors to be able to provide the necessary resources and support and guidance to empower them to know that being hit and being called names and being abused is not okay at any means. We have a survivor that we've helped for the last 6 years now. And I remember when I first met her in Buena Park at a hotel close to Knott's Berry Farm. I remember meeting her and she used to say, you know, Miss Patricia, I have to have these bruises. I have to stay because he gets me the milk for my babies. And she was so young herself and she had 6 little babies. But we were able to provide this empowerment and resources for this past 6 years. And I saw her a couple weeks ago, and she said, you know, Miss Patricia, I just graduated for college. I have a great job, and I'm teaching my children that abuse is not the normal. Abuse is not okay. And to let child abuse survivors know that they can break the cycles of victimization. If they were abused as a child, that doesn't mean that they need to be repeatedly abused throughout their life, that they can say no. We do self-defense and safety classes. We do breaking the barrier classes with survivors to empower them, to let them know that this is our space. It's not okay to anybody to come into our space and take anything without our permission. Whether you're female or male, it doesn't matter. We need to learn to protect ourselves, and we need as a society to know that it's okay to say no. And when we say no, we mean no, that it's not okay. And if we need to fight back until the police get there, that's what we have to do in order to protect ourselves and to stand tall. Some of the other things that we do our victim emergency bags. We have our children and adult ones. We have distributed over 6,500 child and adult victim emergency bags. They cost us $25 per bag to make up. They're given to law enforcement agencies. They're carried in the back of their vehicles. They're given to victims the first 24 hours to provide the necessary resources and support to a victim so that they can have that after dealing with law enforcement, after all of the investigation goes on. What do they do? Where do they go to get counseling, therapy? Where do they go to make sure that they know they don't have to pay their hard-earned money that they earned to go to counseling or to relocate? We make sure that we work with the state of California to make sure we can help with the application process so victims have all of those necessary tools. We worked with a family recently because they weren't able to find the money to bury the 3-year-old girl that was hit by someone and killed. But we were able to help with that application process to be able to expedite it so that they don't have to worry about those burial costs and they can grieve the loss of their daughter, their family member. Those are some of the things we do. We do a lot of events during the year. We are a nonprofit 501c3. All of our programs are strictly ran by all of the donations that come in by individuals, foundations, associations, grants. Every penny goes back to the community. It goes back to our programs and services to really ultimately provide hopeful healing for all survivors, to bring awareness to the communities, to let them know crime happens everywhere. How do you prevent it from happening if you're an individual, a homeowner, a business owner? And then how do you survive beyond it? Some of the events that we do our annual awards banquet every year, where this past year we had over 500 in attendance. We gave 67 award recognitions to sheriff deputies, victim advocates, investigators, district attorneys for going above and beyond the call of duty. Because when they do that, when they treat a victim with respect and dignity, when they take that extra second to treat a victim like they'd want themselves, their mother, their sister, their brother, their aunt, their uncle treated, it's empowering them, it's guiding them, and they're protecting them. We do a lot of speakings at the patrol schools and academy classes. We work very closely with the LAPD, the LA Sheriff's Department, all the other agencies throughout Orange County. We know it's a travel, but we would love to invite you to come to our upcoming run walk that we have October 6th. It's at the Orange County Sheriff's Academy building in Tustin. If you cannot attend, we do ask that you would sponsor a survivor. It's only $25. It is tax deductible. So that a survivor could walk in your name. So please do consider that. You can make that online, or you can talk to Nadine in the back. She's one of our newest advocates that's been added to our team. and it's a great honor and privilege to work with her as well. And she has spent numerous hours and time trying to find a location here in Santa Clarita to be able to also start our support group. So we do have support groups in other cities. We are expanding a great deal. Hopefully next year, it's our 10-year anniversary. We are looking to open up our Crime Survivors Resource Center in Santa Ana, which will provide resources throughout Southern California. And it will be a one-stop location for counseling, therapy, legal, everything that a victim would need, but everything that a community would need, so that we can inform the community on what you can do to make a difference. Maybe you know someone that's been a victim of a violent crime. Maybe you don't know anybody. But we do ask for you to get involved, because as I stand here today and tell you, I would have never thought that I would have endured what I did. So it can happen to anybody. And I also ask that you never judge or question or doubt someone, because they really need a support team. And it takes a team to make a difference. It takes a team to make an impact. Some of the things that we do during the holidays, which if you're ever interested in supporting and getting involved, whether it be volunteering, whether it be donating, whether it be anything, is we give Thanksgiving meal baskets to victims and their families so that they can provide a meal to their family. We collect gifts the whole month of December so we can give victims and their families a great holiday so they don't have to worry about that, because it is very difficult. All of our programs are not based upon income, race, religion. We don't care. We don't care how much money they have in the bank. We feel that they should never have to use their earned money for those programs. Also recommend going to our website, which is crimesurvivors.org. You can get a lot more information about who's involved, what you can do in your community, what you can do for our organization. And I ask that when I leave here tonight, when you leave here tonight, you share that website, you share what I shared with you to maybe 5 of your friends, 5 of your coworkers, and let them know. And hopefully, I've empowered you to realize that we can all make a difference, and we can all put community somewhere in our life to impact another human being. So first and foremost, I just again want to thank you for allowing me the time to come here and to share my survival, our organization, Crime Survivors, that has grown to be an amazing nonprofit organization. And at this time, I just definitely also not only want to thank you, but I'd like to see if anybody has any questions or comments or feedback.
Do you also help out domestic violence victims?
Yes. So it would be family members of murder, attempted murder, rape, domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse. We even help identity theft, human trafficking. The CASE Act is going to be on the November ballot. We ask that you vote yes on 35. It's going to be a great resource for human trafficking victims. And people think, well, that doesn't happen here. Trust me, it happens everywhere. So again, I just thank you so very much. I know you guys know Nadine. If you need anything in reference to our organization or myself, feel free to contact her, ask her, or again, please, you can contact me through my website, email, phone, anytime. I'm always available. So thank you again very much, and I hope to see you all again.